Letters from Zora is an untold story about unbridled creativity. It's about this woman who succeeded during a very difficult time in our history.
In Letters from Zora, I played the title role of Zora Neale Hurston. Lord, I tell you, the stories we told, the songs we sang, and the blues we shared, it was the makings of a family. You see, Harlem was my first true boyfriend. You know that fine, wild one that you know you can't be with forever because your mama told you that a man like that ain't no damn good. But you also know that you'll never have a good time with a man like that again, baby. Oh, Harlem was king, and I shook my thing for the king every chance I got.
Vanessa Calloway is a very talented and gifted performer. And I wanted to give her an opportunity to really showcase her capabilities as an actress.
And when I accepted the role, I kind of built my life up until that point that I was ready to start rehearsing. So in my mind, I knew that I had this amount of time to do all the things I needed to do. And come Christmas time of last year, going to Christmas of the new year 2012, I knew that once New Year's hit, it was on.
She was really able to live through the arc of her story, of her journey. And from the director's point of view and perspective of vision of the piece, it was important to have a journey. Every character changes, is different in some way because of the circumstances they've faced, because of the unexpected twists and turns that life deals with them. And it's how we deal with the circumstance that really reveals the character of the individual.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. And the same issues that here we are in the 21st century are having to address, the same issues were happening in the 19th century when Zora was born, all throughout the 20th century. And one of the things that we really want to try to address with Zora is to recognize that her challenges are the same challenges that people face today.
What is special about Zora Neale Hurston is that she chose to live life on her own terms. She chose to be her own woman in a time where women were supposed to dress a certain way. She didn't dress that way. You were supposed to act a certain way. She did her own thing. She was a Renaissance woman. But I am not tragically colored. There's no great sorrow dammed up in my soul, not lurking behind my eyes. I do not mind at all. I do not belong to the sobbing school of Negrohood who hold that nature somehow has given them a low-down, dirty deal and whose feelings are all hurt about it. She enjoyed every morsel that she tasted. That's what made her special. I was 44, and he was 21 years my junior. Have mercy!
She was fabulous. She was gifted. She was divine. It just so happened that she lied about her age her entire life. It worked for her.
Oh, what, y'all didn't know I was the original Cougar?
I personally love the fact that Zora, for most of her life, faked her age. And how thrilling is that? Talk about a sense of ownership, right? Of one sense of self-identity.
The entire 90 minutes, it's me talking to the audience, telling stories, bringing back memories, emotions, giving them an education, giving them a history lesson.
How could we have Zora tell her story in such a compelling way that people who didn't know who she was, she would conjure herself, come back, tell her story, correct all the inaccuracies about her life.
What would Zora want people to know about her life?
Can you believe this fool asked me to marry him, have his babies, and give up my work? But give up my work for what? For him? For love? For anybody? Oh, please.
You want to see this play because it is a breathing, living, three-dimensional representation of Zora Neale Hurston's life.
People know of her literary works and her accomplishments and achievements in that capacity, but to really be able to tell her story in her own words, by using the letters, the actual letters that she wrote.
I have wept bitterly when my faith has been shattered, and sadly at the passing of a friend. Very truly I have loved with the exalted soul of the idealist.
This allowed me to actually compose music to provide an original score that would again depict the particular era in which Zora lived.
She hung out with the who's who of literature and art and music. That was her crew. Like we have a crew, that was her crew.
Living and loving and working with other black artists was just what my soul craved. Oh, well, there was quite a few of us back then. There was Dorothy and County and, oh, my Langston.
And she was very much, as we all know her, from the Harlem Renaissance, but her life expanded beyond that before and after the Harlem Renaissance.
Well, you know, I almost studied for my doctorate once at Columbia with the assistance of the Rosenwald Fund. Well, not everybody was pleased with that decision, and some made it known, be it written or verbal, that I was getting ahead of myself, a little old colored girl. Well, it just wasn't meant to be.
Zora's most significant contribution to me is all of her writings. Because she was a Renaissance woman and she was ahead of her time, the things that she wrote, some of them are just making sense to people now.
She's someone who broke all the rules. She's a black Republican. She's someone who didn't embrace Brown versus Board of Education in 1954. She was someone who didn't embrace the whole idea of falling to the whole traditional roles of being married and having babies at a time when that's what women did.
And she had a lot to offer to American culture, American history, but black culture in particularly. So she was a very good person to portray.
It was a really interesting process, actually, trying to figure out how best to direct a solo show with Vanessa Calloway, you know, taking on the signature role of Zora, and to really make it alive and accessible to modern-day contemporary audiences, a lot of which may or may not actually be familiar with the woman herself.
The one thing I know people will be is very shocked because I guess when you kind of look at me, I don't have a huge resemblance, and some of my body of work beforehand, you know, may not suggest that that's a character I would be easily able to portray. But being the actress that I am, once I was able to delve into Zora and really get the essence of who she was, I think that when people see me, they're in for quite a ride that they'll be unexpected to get.
While audience members watch Letters from Zora, they will experience pure, unadulterated joy. They will laugh. Lord have mercy, they will laugh. They will cry.
So I hope also they leave with a greater sense and curiosity about who the woman actually was.
The saying is, you know, we stand on the shoulders of many people. Well, I stand on Zora's shoulders. You know, there's people who are standing on mine.
I think just from a standpoint of really helping people to understand how someone made the ultimate sacrifice in telling their story in their own words can be uplifting to people perhaps who are thinking about, well, should I have the courage to step out and do something on my own? Zora will give you that courage.
They will stand up for Zora, and they will stand up for Vanessa Calloway.
I hope that the people take away that it was a rich era that produced just a multitude and multifaceted people and experiences.
It's about a woman who reveled in her superior intellectual capacity. It's about love. It's about life. It's about Zora.